In this video training, we discuss the practice experience and the processes outlined that need to be taken into consideration with regards the first-time visitor versus the follow-up visitor. What is the difference? The first-time visitor is that individual who has never come to the practice before. It could either be a patient who walks into the optometric practice complaining about something or asking about something, or they have made an appointment and they come into the practice for the very first time. There's no file pertaining to them that you guys have on record. Whereas a customer could also be a first-time visitor. What do I mean by that? A customer, remember, it's someone who could come to the practice for the very first time, but it's someone that who has already been wearing glasses that they've gotten from another practice, not necessarily your practice. If it's your own practice that you're working with, perhaps that customer is a person that came in for the second time. Then that is no longer a first-time visitor. That person then becomes a follow-up visitor. Same applies with a client. A client then would become someone who is coming to the practice for the second or the third or the fourth time. And so in this video training, we're going to look at different ways in which the first-time visitor or the follow-up visitor will present themselves within the practice. So for example, someone may come into your practice as a first-time visitor, and this is the type of person that we'll highlight. Just looking, but they are wearing spectacles or contact lenses. So if that person is wearing a pair of spectacles, you already know that the experience that they're going to be getting in your practice would not be their first visual experience. So they've had glasses that were prescribed to them from a different practice. So how would they initially present, or what type of initial attitude would they have towards you when they come into the practice? Sometimes they're very rude initially, or they're in a hurry and just quickly popping in. Perhaps they were walking at the shopping center where your practice is located, and they, oh, I remember now, let me pop in here and ask a few questions pertaining to glasses. So a person who does that and is already wearing glasses tells you something, that this is a person that, even though they're wearing glasses, they're not necessarily a client at a particular practice. Because if they were a client, all their visual needs, they will just go back to that optometrist or optometry practice that prescribed the glasses for them. But if they're wearing glasses and they come to your practice, clearly indicates that you have an opportunity to win them over into your practice. And so they usually, or sometimes, would have an idea of what they want or need, and they're just looking for something specific, or not necessarily something specific. Either way, they will not tell you. And so what is the response that is required from you as an employee in the practice that you're working for? As you're looking, if there's anything that you would like me to assist you with, please do not hesitate to let me know. Then give them a moment. Another approach would be the frame that you're wearing. How long have you had that frame? It's got beautiful color. Are you a person that loves color? That person is going to tell you, yes, I love color. Or, nah, I actually did not like this frame. What did you not like about this frame? Was it a comfort issue? Was it the fact that, what is it? So you want to ask them questions pertaining to that which you want to know information about, in terms of what is it that they're looking for. So don't automatically just be talking about promotions and specials. Be observant in terms of what are they drawing towards? What are they picking up from the shelves or the display area? And with the questions that you're asking them, ask them questions that lead to you having information that you would be able to use in order for you to get them the product that they need. So if they like color, if they like bold frames, if they want metal frames, if they're looking for plastic frames, if they're looking for very formal or informal frames, whatever it is that they're providing you with information on, then you're utilizing that information to then custom make 3 or 4 options that would be 2 or 3 options that would be ideal for them. And listen. Be ready to answer any questions that they might have regarding pricing and quotations. Like, you have to have that readily available. So when you pick up a product or two, because of what they've already indicated to you is what they're looking for, mention the product features and benefits in relation to the specifications that they've given you. And if they say they like the following about the frame that they're wearing, and they're looking for something different, when you then select a product that would be ideal for them, that they will also like, mention what is it or what makes it different or better compared to the product that they currently have. It's very, very important that you're not having this routine of, how about this one? It looks nice. It looks too small. Have an in-depth analysis of your products that you are discussing with the consumer, pertaining to them saying, I'm looking for something like this, or I'm looking for a particular product. So it's very important then for you to know and be confident and comfortable and competent with regard to products that you guys have in the practice. And so whilst they are also looking, one of the other options or responses that you can initiate is, why are you looking? Do you mind if I just check if your frames are still straight, if I can clean your frames as well? A lot of people tend to focus on the cleaning of their lenses and not cleaning their frames. So if you don't mind, sir or ma'am, can I quickly clean your frames and lenses for you while you in that regard? I don't know that your previous optometrist also, and while you're cleaning the lenses and you finish, ask them, the previous optometrist, that they give you directions in terms of how do you clean your lenses and your frames, how often should you be cleaning your lenses and your frames, what products to use, what products not to use, and the impact that if your glasses are having a coat like yours have, using your clothes to clean your glasses. Do you have a clear indication or understanding of all of that? They're going to give you information that says no, they don't. Automatically, what that does, it means you're already educating them on things that they were supposed to have already been knowing. Who knows? They've been wearing glasses for 5 to 6 years, and this is information that is then new to them. Already you stand out as a practice because you're providing them with basic information really, but a lot of optometry practices don't take the time to educate consumers on processes like that pertaining to cleaning of glasses or spectacles, and that is an opportunity for you then to win them over. Be observant of what they pick from the shelves. This is very, very important, and you then speaking directly in relation to what they're picking up, and ask them questions. When last did you have your eyes examined? Where did you have your eyes examined? What was your experience like? What is it that did you feel that your glasses that you got solved the problem that you had? No, I felt like I had a glare and light sensitivity. I got these glasses. They told me that I must get this coating on my glasses. I did, but I still have a problem. So, well, there are different types of anti-reflective coatings. There's a basic type, there's the intermediate one, and then there's a premium product. Perhaps the problem that you had pertaining to your glass or your vision was requiring you to go for a more premium option. And with regards to our premium options, this is the options that are available. The benefit with this product is as follows in comparison to this one here that you are perhaps wearing. And the benefit of this product is as follows. And your visual experience with this product, based on, can I actually check your prescription just to have an indication so that I can give you information that is specific to what your problem would be. You give the pair of glasses to the dispenser or the optometrist to check the prescription. Then you see, okay, this is what the prescription is. Then you're communicating. Also, one of the things that you need to consider is that you've got a high prescription. If that's the case, you've got a high prescription. And sometimes when we put a particular coating on a particular lens material, the coating does not function the way it's supposed to function, especially if it's a basic coating that you put on a premium, on a poor quality lens. So it's very, very important that the lens material goes hand to hand with the necessary lens coating in order to give you the maximum visual that you might require. So you're having those conversations with this individual. Now, what does that do? That's the second or the third opportunity that you have in educating the consumer. They've not even made the appointment. When what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting them, you're educating them, you are leading them to the products that they see that they do need, and you are leading them to getting that appointment secured. So say, look, with everything that we have said, let's make your appointment today and actually get to see what is happening with your vision as a whole, because I've clearly just given you a lot of information and I'm just the consultant. Perhaps when the optometrist goes in, they're going to find a lot of other information pertaining to your vision that perhaps has been missed or that you're not aware of. And so we would love for you to actually have your eyes examined so that we can actually provide you with the necessary management solutions that your vision needs. That's how you approach the first time visitor who is wearing a pair of spectacles and they're just coming into your practice saying, just looking. And listen very well to what they say, what they need, and know your products very, very well. The thing about it is that if you don't know your products, you will not be able to advise them adequately. You will not be able to recommend the necessary products pertaining to that which they're looking for. So, and also don't have this thing of going through 10 frames for a person to go back to the one that you needed. That only happens when a practice or an individual in a practice does not have confidence in their product, or does not know their products, or they have not been adequately trained on the various products. So you need to know your products, you need to know your pricing on not only your frames and your lenses, but also your quotations. On your lens codes, so that when you're giving quotations, you are confident and you have given a quotation that goes hand to hand with the explanations pertaining to product benefits and clinical features, as well as the value that that particular product is going to have on the person's visual experience. And that's how you win over a person that walks into the practice and says they're just looking. Now, the second type of individual would then be that one who comes into your practice as a first-time visitor, also just looking, but they are a non-prescription or a non-spectacle wearer. They've never worn glasses before. So this is someone that walks into your practice. They perhaps have been experiencing discomfort in front of a computer. They have been experiencing difficulty driving at night. Whatever it is that is a problem with regards to visual experience, it's what has brought them into the practice. So they would not have planned to come into the practice, but because they were walking past the practice, there you go, they're walking into the practice. And so you have to make sure that this person has absolutely no idea what goes on with glasses. Most probably they've got preconceived ideas that if I go to the optometrist, whether or not I've got a problem or not, the very first thing that they're going to tell me is that I need glasses. So already that is something that you need to dispel away from them. And so they're not sure what they really want. They know they have some sort of problem regarding their eyes, but they dread the idea of wearing spectacles. That's what a first-time visitor who has never worn glasses or contact lenses, or who has never had their eyes examined, dreads. And so you have to have an awareness of that type of individual, the preconceived ideas that they come into the practice with, right? And so one of the things, ask them questions to get as much detail as you possibly can from them. You're probing them with as much questions regarding their visual experience. How many hours are they spending in front of a computer, away from the computer, their cell phone, what type of work, what type of leisure activities they do, how much time are they driving? And the information that you're getting helps you then to educate them. So you have to have some form of baseline information pertaining to various problems as a consultant or a staff member in an optometry practice. So that if someone says, this is what I'm experiencing as a problem, then you know that, sir or ma'am, well, the reason why you're experiencing that could potentially be as a result of the following, this. But for us to be able to confirm what I'm saying, we need to have your eyes examined so that a proper diagnosis can come to the fold. And it's not just about wearing glasses, it's about what visual problem do you have and what would be the best possible solution to your visual problem. Perhaps you've got a dry eye issue. From what I've heard, it sounds like you've got a dry eye issue, and so the optometrist will then examine your eyes to determine what is the cause of the dry eye. And if it is dry eye, then there are multiple ways in which we can manage dry eye. And so it's not just about you come in for an eye exam and you're getting a pair of spectacles. Here's the thing, the person that is just looking and not wearing glasses, the likelihood of them going to multiple practices is high, because here's one of the questions that they're going to ask is, how much does it cost to have my eyes tested? That could also be with that first-time visitor who's a spectacle wearer but coming from another practice. They're going to ask you that question, how much does it cost to have my eyes examined? And if they're asking you that practice, you're not the most amazing practice in the world where you are the only one getting that question asked. They are asking that question to 4 or 5 other optometric practices. the information that you give when you say the eye examination is 500 rands, and this is what's involved in the eye examination. We do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, and these are the outcomes that should be expected, and this is the potential management solutions that we could have. The equipment that we are using is as follows. This equipment allows us to determine this. This equipment allows us to determine this. This technology allows us to determine this. And at the end of that examination, and the examination procedure can take anything from this amount of time to this amount of time, depending on the problem that you are having. And once the diagnosis is reached, we then have multiple different management solutions that the optometrist will recommend based on the findings that they have. And so that whole process is that initial component. We need to make sure that you have clear and comfortable vision, and that any other associated factors that could influence how you see are also addressed, so that you know that whether it's glasses that you need or glasses that you don't need, the proper problems have been identified with the necessary recommendations as management solutions have been put in place as well. That's what you do. This thing of just saying, how much does it cost to have my eyes tested? Or how much does it cost to test my eyes? Then the practices say, cash or medical aid. Why do you do that? And then the person says medical aid. Then your response is, well, it depends on your medical aid. Why do you just limit the conversation to that? How have you educated the practice? The practice that has been saying the same thing as you, the second practice, the third practice, the fourth practice, they're all saying the same thing. Why do you not go further by ensuring that, even though, because here's the thing, if I'm a consumer and a person says 500, the next one 200, the next one 300, but the one that said 200 is going to be educating me about what that whole process that I've just outlined, I'm going to be questioning the one with the 500. And some of the things that I would do, especially if you're in a practice that has all these fancy equipment, and let's say the equipment, you've got a diagnostic room or in the examination room itself. Here's a quick tip that a lot of practices don't think about. If I'm a consultant, I used to do this way back when I was an optometry student and working in optometry practices during holidays. When someone comes in to inquire about eye examinations and how much it costs, and they were a first-time visitor, right? And I knew that the practice that I was working in has got various. Back then, there were no OCTs that practice had, but they had a fundus camera. They had certain equipment. They had a visual field analyzer, and I knew that a lot of other practices did not have that equipment. So what I would do, if the examination room was not occupied by the optometrist and the patient, for example, I would then take that individual and show them that with this equipment, this is what we do. With that equipment, this is what we do. With this equipment, this is the information that it enables us to get. With this equipment, this is the information that it enables us to get. And all of this information helps us determine what then is the diagnosis for your eyes or for your vision, and what are the potential management solutions that might exist. And so at the end of this, you're going to leave here knowing whether you've got clear and comfortable vision, because a lot of people have clear vision but not comfortable vision. So you need to make sure that we're addressing both, and the factors that determine the comfort influence the clarity. So that's the process. So that person gets confidence. This is the question. The next question that they're going to ask is, how soon can I get my eyes examined? Because why? I've shown them that I know what I'm talking about as a practice. I've shown them that we've got the solutions and the products that they need for the problems that they have. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build trust between yourself and the respective consumer. But you just limiting it to, it's just 500 rands or 400 rand, and you're leaving it at that, you're missing out on a great and wonderful opportunity to secure that person as a person who will purchase something from the practice. And so, as you're suggesting frames for this person who's just looking, don't be too quick to just be showing them products that you are selling them in the practice, because they're not there for that. They're there for something far more. The questions that you are asking, the questions that you are probing, enables you then to get the necessary information that you need to provide the necessary solutions for them. Very, very important. And here's the thing. Prioritize securing those appointments with urgency. The key is in the answers that they give you. So if you have addressed all their concerns and questions, make sure that you're securing the appointment urgently. And here's the thing. A first-time visitor needs to be prioritized. Squeeze them in wherever you can, even if your diary is chock-block full. Why are you going to make the appointment for next week? Especially if you have not convinced them on the practice capacity and capabilities. So if you see that you have won this person over, why are you going to give them time to go and compare with another practice? Secure them today, tomorrow, as earliest as you possibly can, so that whilst they're still excited and they're confident that this practice has the solutions that I need and that they'll be able to help address my problems, get them in for that appointment. Here's another type of individual, those ones that will have specific visual needs or concerns or queries that they will have, right? They have specific complaints and need the answers to that which they're asking you for. They're going to go with the practice that first addresses those visual concerns or complaints. And so it's very, very important that you as a staff member or you as the optometric team have a clear indication or understanding of the different types of visual concerns or queries that are common that people might present with on a day-to-day basis. So a person walks into the practice specifically indicating to you what their visual concern or problem is. You need to make sure that you have the necessary information that is important for you to then educate this individual so that they can get the confidence that, yes, this practice has answered my questions or concerns to the level of my satisfaction. And they have assured me that they've got the necessary solutions that will address the problems that I have. That's the process. And so once they're comfortable with you, they will be ready for that appointment. Book, secure that appointment with immediate effect. Remember, they're shopping around, and if they're looking, and if you hook them immediately through the information that you've provided to them, it becomes easy that they commit with you. They commit with you, and it becomes a journey that person is going to walk with you over the next couple of years, because they will move from just being that patient and go through the whole sales cycle and sales process to eventually becoming a client. And that's what you want. And so be readily available to answer questions promptly and accurately, and answers should be directed towards securing the eye appointment, so that you're giving them a little bit of information and you're saying that for us to know more, this is what we need to do. Very, very important. And you have to inspire confidence with this group. Inspire confidence that the person has made the right decision by walking into the optometric practice. And so create a welcoming atmosphere by being attentive and expectant that, wow, you know your stuff, you're competent, you know what it is that you are doing and what capacity or abilities you have in solving optometric related problems, and show them your capacity. That is so important. And that's why I did the example earlier on in terms of if you want to have a person walk through the practice, it's very, very important that you walk them through the practice so that they can see that, wait a minute, this practice is different from most other practices. And if you don't have all those fancy equipment, then you better make sure that you've got the necessary information that you need to educate them adequately enough. And then the next thing, and quick quotations. People that come asking for, how much does it cost for this? Or can I get a quotation on the following? Don't want them to be waiting for too long, and they expect an immediate response. So you need to know your products, but you also need to know your pricing related to your products. And so the question might be, you're seeing a lot of medical aid patients, or customers or clients. Even if that is the case, you might be seeing 20 different medical aids or all of medical aids, but on a day-to-day basis, in the environment that you're operating in as a practice, you're seeing the top 5. So you better make sure that you know the top 5 medical aids that you see as a practice on a regular basis. And then you need to know the pricing that goes with it on the most common product combinations that exist. Multifocal with this coat and that tint, single vision with this material, that coat, that frame. You need to know those different combinations. Very, very important. So that when someone asks you, as you're typing it out and you're doing a formal quotation, you are also typing it out while you're explaining the product, because you know your product. This thing of just being all over the place and not knowing your product, not knowing your pricing, creates the impression to the consumer that you don't know what you're doing. So it's very, very important that you're inspiring that confidence that you know your product, you know your pricing, and you know the different combinations. So pricing and product knowledge is something that you need to learn every day as a person who's working in a practice. The practices that sign up on our 12-month program, the thing that we train them on is that employees who have been working in the practice for longer than 4 months, 4 to 6 months, they've got no excuse, none whatsoever, of why they don't know their products and their pricing. Let alone the employees who have been working in a practice for 2 to 3 years. That should be something that you know and are comfortable in, and not just having the optometrist being the one who knows the pricing and the products. It is completely unacceptable for you to have been working in a practice 4 or 5 years and not be confident and comfortable and competent in discussing pricing and products with the respective consumer. And so the other thing is that you need to make sure that you probe the consumer on the experience with the current eyewear versus what you are recommending for them. So a lot of the times is that when you give quotations on what someone is asking, a multifocal pair with anti-reflective coating and a tint, and this is what I need. Ask them what the experience has been with that particular product. Are they aware that there are different types of anti-reflective coatings and so forth? So probe them as much as you possibly can, because no matter what, you always have to look for the upgrade opportunity. There's always an upgrade opportunity that exists with every single consumer. Look for it and go for it. And you can only do that when you are comfortable and are competent in your product knowledge. And so that's basically how you go about with the first-time visitors. Whereas, and if also with the referrals, there's also that person who is then comes in, they have a referral letter, or it was by word of mouth. Secure the appointment immediately and create a worthwhile experience with that individual. Remember, ask who was the referrer and pick up the phone or send a message to that person or an email, however form of communication that you prefer or that person prefers, and send the acknowledgement of the referral that you received. Very important. The follow-up visitor, the difference then between the customer and the client. Clients, in the earlier chapters, as well as on our optometric staff training course, we talk about the category placement card that you need to have of the different individuals that come to your practice. So with your following up visitors, it's very, very important that you have an indication that this person was here for the second time or the third time, and what did they purchase, what did they get prescribed, what was their overall experience last time, what did they complain about versus did we deliver on that. So you need to have that awareness of someone who has been with you before, so that when they come today now again in your practice, you are having every ample opportunity to exceed every single expectation that they have. And so you have to prioritize the client, for example, and you make sure that the experience that they get every time they come to the practice is worthwhile and memorable. Whereas those customers who have not necessarily become your clients as yet, have just been coming to your practice maybe once before, they have not necessarily been converted as yet, because this is the second time that they're coming, right? Do you remember them from last time? Are their records in order? Have you checked their benefits prior before they come in? Learn their names. Mention something about the past experience that you remember. So have a little notebook for yourself as a consultant in the practice that you can constantly make reference to on a regular basis, and show them how your services have improved from 2 years ago. So it's all about service delivery improvements when it comes to customers that you want to convert into clients. And so build strong relationships with them, look for the upgrade potential with customers, and provide excellent service delivery. That's how you get to move them up the sales journey, by moving them from being the customer who has bought something from the practice once before to them eventually becoming a client, because that's what you want. You want to deal with clients, and with clients there's loyalty, and where there's loyalty, you want to get to a point where people are not buying on a 2-year cycle. They're buying whenever products are being released, whenever new information is brought into the practice, whenever new products come. You want them to be coming into the practice on regular intervals, spending money on products that go hand to hand with the problems that they have. So don't have this cycle of limiting your approach with consumers to the 2-year cycle. In between the 2-year cycle, there are lots of new products, lots of new promotions, lots of new specials. You want them to have multiple pairs of spectacles or multiple pairs of management solutions that solve the problems that they have, because they've got multiple pairs of shoes, they've got multiple pairs of clothing, they've got multiple pairs of everything else. Why can't they have multiple pairs of management solutions pertaining to their visual provenance. And so that is basically the practice experience and the store processes or the processes that you need to outline or be aware of when you're dealing with the respective consumers between the first time visitor and the following up visitor.